Hey everybody, welcome back. New week, new streak, baby. And we oughta get a new motto. Doesn't really work. I appreciate the health upgrade though. Very, very average stats. DSCY6XEA. What we're learning is that average stats, not really average at all. You know? We gotta rethink our average, I think, because if we're excited about a run that has Isaac's starting stats, maybe Isaac's starting stats are not really a good measure for what should be considered normal on an Eden run. You never know, that expectation might affect our reality moving forward. Maybe we get 2.5 damage and we go, hey, could be worse. Maybe not, though. I mean, that is really, that's bad. That's bad enough to be worth noting. So, a usable trinket right off the bat. Last run was, you know, very good. We didn't talk about Isaac, essentially, for the entire thing. Instead, we made some very troubling comments about generational health norms. I'm just saying. That bit's still percolating in my head. Regardless. I'm feeling good playing Isaac. Had a good NLSS today. We'll definitely take the relic. And I'm in that glorious period where I'm no longer sick and it just feels great. You know, everything feels great. When I lay down on the couch and I'm not, I'm not congested, I feel great. When I wake up and I don't have that moment of realization that's like, I'm still sick, you know? I feel great. It's a good time. I feel like, you ever feel like the seasons never end until you're out of them? Like, I remember thinking this winter, I was like, dude, this is the longest winter I've ever experienced in my entire life. Now, it wasn't terrible weather. You know, the Vancouver winters, they can get cold by Vancouver standards, but I still maintain, you know, if you moved here from someplace else, you can get used to the Vancouver weather, and then it's like 0 outside, and you're like, it's cold, you know. Kind of just get over it, you know, remember back in Ontario, good old Toronto boy, minus 30 right now. Just don't be cold forehead, I guess is what I'm trying to say. However, hold on. You know what? Why not? I remember in the wintertime, I was like, man, it's never going to be summer. Now we're in the summertime. I'm not complaining. It's been awesome. But I'm like, man, it's been the summer forever. I feel like it's been warm since like the middle of April. And again, I'm not complaining. I know it's not here forever, but summer is definitely one of those seasons, at least here, where by the time it officially starts, you're like, you're late. I get, like, for celestial reasons, it has to start in the middle of June. You know, I mean, to be honest, I actually don't know what the literal definition of the seasons is based on. I guess it's based on the fact that, you know, the rotation of, or the orbit of the Earth around the sun is divided into quarters, and then, you know, it's not based on the weather in the particular area where you live so much. Because, well, let's think about it, because, like, summer is June to December. So let's just say you get all of... No, wait, dude, I forgot about autumn. I'm just going to tell you straight up, I forgot autumn existed temporarily. Maybe I'm not cut out for this line of work. Summer is June to September. September is the dawn of autumn. So that's month 6 to month 9. Fall is month 9 to month 12. Winter is month 12 to month 3. Okay, so it is just divided like that. I gotta tell you, I would redivide them. If we have time zones, why can't we have season zones? I'm gonna tell you, as far as I'm lived in Vancouver for 7 years now, there's only 2 seasons in Vancouver, okay? There's summer and rain, and I'm okay with that. If they said, hey, October to April, that's a 6-month period, you know? October to April, that's rain. And then April to October, that's summer. That would be okay. That would be a functional way you know, divide the year up for me. I don't know if maybe that would affect other people in different ways. I feel like we have a very short autumn, short spring here. You know, because our winter is not defined by blizzards and snow, but is instead defined by it raining like 25 out of 30 days a month. Anyway, where was I going with that? I know as soon as summer's over and it starts raining every day and I can't go outside and play Pokemon Go without an umbrella, I'm going to be like, man, I wish it was still the summertime. But we're actually at least taking advantage of this summer. You know, we're not really outdoorsy people, but this summer we've been taking advantage of it, getting outside a lot more. Feels nice, dude. Feels nice to go out. Feel the sun on your face, the wind in your hair, hypothetically. Ruka is like, he's enamored with what he's seeing on the screen right now. Now, I don't know if you should be, you know, so close to the screen there, buddy. But he definitely likes what he sees. In fact, he likes it so much, I'm worried that he is going to attack the monitor at some point. Oh, baby. Okay, so this is not, I mean, the D6 is a lot of fun. I hate to get rid of the D6, but we get the D infinity, like, quite a lot. It gives us D6 opportunities as well, so I'm not slandering it too much. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'll take the satchel. For 5 cents, I'll buy Ancient Recall. Let's see if we can pivot that into something better. Fool, Strength, Two of Hearts. We're gonna roll Strength card, I think. But pause button Orbital is an insanely good start. We're looking for 9 volt. Anything along these lines will be A-okay, good to go. Yeah, I'm still in that, I'm in that boat right now where I'm just like, man, my defining personality trait right now is that I am not ill. And it feels awesome. I would like to leave, thank you. You gotta be close to death. Thank you. Apart from that, there's not that much going on over here. I feel like I'm talking to my parents. My parents have stopped asking me what's going on in my life, and they start just asking me, is everything good? And it's a much better question, you know? Like, let me put it this way. A lot of people watching this might consider themselves introverted. What's the most annoying question a person who's introverted can be asked? What you thinking about? Really annoying, right? First off, just because I'm not talking doesn't mean I'm deep in thought and pondering, what's my next... Oh, calculating, accessing language library, what will I say next? You know, I've got a way with words, I think, to some extent at least, but sometimes I just don't want to talk because I'm sick of talking. You know, I appreciate the value of a good silence from time to time. Instead of asking what you're thinking about, or God forbid, what's wrong, so bad, don't ever ask somebody. I mean, if you get the vibe that something's wrong, it's not necessarily toxic to go, to inquire. But you should never ask what's wrong. Put somebody on the defensive. Because it's like telling somebody they look tired. Because if they are tired, they're like, okay, thanks, I thought I looked like garbage, but now I know it. And if they're not tired, they're like, well, I guess even if I sleep well, I look like a piece of trash. So, like, it's a terrible thing to, I mean, just use your head. This is common sense stuff. But instead of saying, what's wrong? Hit them with the, you good? Or, are you okay? It's much better. It doesn't put them on the defensive instead of, being almost accusatory. You're just saying, hey, I got your best interest in mind. I'm looking out for you. That's my piece of advice on that subject. I'm not really an well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think we want it. We already have so much HP via the relic. Not really interested. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm an introvert who's good at talking and good with people. But for the most part, the reason I describe myself as an introvert is not because I'm not good with people, but rather because I would rather be alone, or I would rather be in a. Hey, do you guys want to move someplace quieter? Like, this restaurant is really loud. Or I would at least rather, I don't necessarily like being around a lot of people. And I'm kind of at the point where, like, I don't like meeting new people. There was probably a point in college I was like, this is fun. A whole bunch of people here from different backgrounds. Wow, exotic. You're from a different part of Ontario than I am. Now I'm like, you know what? I think I met I met pretty much like one of everybody at this point. I know you're a John, you know. You're a Sayama. I'm familiar with thought, and it's not to say that we're not all equal, or not. That's not really what I meant. But I mean that is in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in the Canadian Constitution. What I meant rather was that we're all unique in our own way. John is John, and then Jim. He's like a John type, but he's got his own little flavor going on. I'm not saying I'm one of a kind either. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm probably like a little bit of a Larry with a splash of Seymour, who knows? I'm just saying, I think I've got my fill of new human beings for now. There may come a time where I feel differently about that, but for now I'm like, don't talk to me unless you're Kevin Feige, and you're calling me to be like, hey, we finally decided to cast a naturally bald Professor Xavier instead of just people who shave their heads for the role. And I will look in the camera and I'll say, Kevin, it's about time. It's about time, Kevin. We've been underrepresented for too long. Where's my Vin Diesel? Well, that's not actually fair because Professor Xavier, as played by Patrick Stewart, is definitely a man who is naturally bald. So this bit fell on its face in like more way than one. But I'm saying James McAvoy, not bald. Not a bald man. Now, honestly, the new X-Men movies have bigger problems than that. And I'm making a joke like, is it, I'm not really upset about it. I'm just saying, like, and I do need to point out at the same time, just because I'm making a joke, I'm not making a mockery of people who want representation in films. If anything, I'm making a joke at Scarlett Johansson's expense. But regardless of this, Kevin, you got my number. It's 555 Professor X. Call me up, dude. I'm ready. I'm not ready. I don't think I know how to act. I don't think I know how to act in a dramatic role, at least. But I maintain the hope that maybe one day, like the Coen brothers will just be like, hey, we're big fans of your YouTube channel. You know how when we cast someone in a movie, we cast them in every movie we ever make? We want you to be a weird shop owner in this one. I'd be like, dude, I'll be in Los Angeles yesterday. That'll be 6:24. There you go. That's my line read. That'll be 6:24. I can do it so many different ways. What do you want? Perplexed? 6:24, please. I'm working on it. Excited. Well, that'll be. You know what? Screw it. On the house for you today, sir. That's a little improv. I could throw some improv in there if I have to. What about grief-stricken? 6:24, please. And then that's the sound of the chimes on the door as they exit. And they put on a cowboy hat or something. You know what I'm working with. I've seen movies before. I'm familiar with it. I don't want to get into it, really, because I don't have anything to say that could add to the conversation. But speaking of the Coen brothers, Barton Fink was on TV. I never seen that movie. I like the Coen brothers a lot. I watched that movie, and I said, geez, they really went out here on this film. Like this, they brought the heat on Barton Fink. I'd been under the impression that it was, like other Coen brothers movies. And it shares a lot of the same DNA, I guess. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen Barton Fink, but it's got like a little bit of a David Lynch thing going on that I didn't know going into it. I've seen Blood Simple, which I think is the Coen brothers. It's their first major movie. Dan Hedaya. I'm trying to think of who else. I think Frances McDormand is in that as well, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. But Barton Fink with John Turturro, that's a movie. Like that doesn't just tell a story. That's got some themes. Anyway, what was I talking about? Joel, Ethan, if you're watching, no pressure, but consider it. We got a real interesting thing going on here. All I can ask is for AAA battery or 9-volt. If we get either of those, we're so unbelievably set. We're pretty much set to begin with. Every other room is easy. And then on every room, we're pretty close to getting, 1 speed upgrade. would probably put us at the point where we'd basically be starting with Taurus every single time, but... People think acting is very easy. Because, I mean, I guess on the surface, it's kind of a struggle, right? Because if you're a good actor, you make it look kind of effortless. You know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite actors is Michael Stuhlbarg. He's been in Call Me By Your Name, The Shape of Water. Look, this is not his best role, but he played the other male doctor in Doctor Strange. You know, the one who does not become the Sorcerer Supreme. He's been in a lot of amazing work. He's a great actor. But very rarely in any of these movies does he stand up on... I mean, he doesn't Call Me By Your Name, but does he stand up on a platform and go, "What is the nature of man? To die a beast?" You know, he doesn't go off on any stuff like that. He's just like... He dissolves into every role. I feel like if you're... And I'm not much of a film study sort of guy. I feel like if you're not really that knowledgeable about movies and acting... The number one thing that makes an actor good is their face. And I hate to say it, but I feel like if you go down the list of like the number one character actors that are most beloved in Hollywood, you got a lot of dudes with like kind of weird faces, okay? Michael Stuhlbarg, he doesn't have a weird face necessarily. He's got a distinctive face. Michael Shannon is another good example. You may remember him as he's in The Shape of Water as well, but he also played General Zod in Man of Steel. He also played Junkie in Bad Boys. No joke. He was in Take Shelter. He's in Midnight Special. He's been in a lot of great movies. And he's one of those people where you see him, you go, "Oh, the guy with the face." Steve Buscemi, another classic example. I think if you got a little bit of a distinctive face, it gives you a huge advantage when it comes to dad and mom school of casting. You know, they're like, "I love movies with this guy." What guy? You know, the guy with the face. William Fichtner? Yeah, you know, the pointy face. He was in Armageddon. He's the bank manager from Heat. Pardon me. Overextended my vocal cord. Got a little saliva caught in the chamber. It happens sometimes. You just gotta cough it out. Let me hit the cough button. See you in a second. Now that I coughed, Ruka has gotten up. It's a chain reaction, dude. Now he doesn't want to be in the box. He wants to be out of the room. You may exit the room. Now, Tomo, do you want to be in the box or do you want to leave the room? He wants to be in the box. Okay. But I feel like being a real actor is not easy. I feel it's a tough job. Probably preaching to the choir. That many people go to school for it. I don't think the duties of the job are necessarily tough. You know, you're not picking up bricks all day, carrying a, 400-pound wheelbarrow to the top of a hill or something like that. But I feel like to be good at it, it is a craft. I do have respect for actors and actresses, even though, sometimes I read reviews for a movie and they're like, "This person crushed it." And then I watch the movie and I'm like, "I don't know how you came up with that, but everybody else seems to agree, so you know what? They crushed it. I agree." Anyway. Movies are on my mind. I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been going to the theater, as mentioned, ad nauseum. But also I've been watching some movies on TV, because, I don't know, we're in... I'm just gonna be honest. I have no idea how the television model of selling digital cable channels works anymore. Kind of feel like almost everybody my age is they've moved on to Netflix and other various apps, and I'm kind of like, I don't even like cable that much. The reason we have it is like there's a few reasons. I didn't mean to do that. One is sports. During the NHL season especially, I watch a lot of sports. Well, I watch a decent amount of sports. And then, anytime there's like an event television, I'm like, dude, Game of Thrones, in particular, was the last one. It's nice to have cable. But if I'm being honest, the #1 reason that I keep cable around is because I don't get option paralysis. What I mean by that is, when it comes to Netflix, I mean, it's a good item, but I think this is just more interesting this way. When it comes to Netflix, I spend about 75% of my Netflix time in the app watching stuff, and 25% trying to find the perfect thing to watch, as if such a thing even exists. It's a naive pursuit, you know what I mean? I'm actually going to level with you. Now that we have a speed upgrade, I don't think we need pause button anymore, and I think we should go back for blank card. TV kind of skips the middleman, and it's, you know, you would think that having more options is a good thing, and it is, but can I tell you a little secret about Netflix? A lot of the stuff on Netflix is like really, really, really trash. Now, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There's no doubt about that. I watch a lot of the shows you probably consider trash. You know, I watch a lot of the shows that are like, my kid's in prison. And I'm like, man, this really tears you up inside. Other people are like, that's trash. You know what I don't watch is, you know, all the reality shows. I'm turning me house into an Airbnb. I don't watch that show. What if I baked a cake but badly? I don't watch that show, okay? Nobody goes to prison on those shows. I don't watch them. But having cable, it really narrows it down. And it's not, is it worth paying for? Oh my god, no. I would never recommend cable to anybody. It's like smoking. It's a bad habit, but I've just been doing it so long, I'm worried I wouldn't be myself if I quit. So I turn on the TV, especially if it's like 7 or 8 p.m. It really helps narrow it down, dude. Because what's on at 7 or 8 p.m.? There's about 9 different versions of the Vancouver news. I get that, it's a free market system. So people are like, well, they got a news, we should have a news too. But I'm like, dude, there's not that much news out of the city. You've all got access to 100% of the news. How are you competing? Like anchor handsomeness? I don't understand. Theme song? And then there's like, the channels that I will never touch. Not because like out of, a moral reason or anything. They just never play a show I'm interested in, like like HGTV. I will never choose to watch HGTV except to get mad at Tiny House Hunters. Well, it's a little snug. That's my impression of everybody on Tiny House Hunters, but this is a little micro impression. We don't need to keep it up for too long, you know what I mean? We did not need a bomb. So once you take those out there, it really usually comes down to like, hey, there's two shows on. Do you feel like watching The Simpsons or do you feel like watching Seinfeld? And then you go look at The Simpsons and you're like, ooh, episode produced after the year 1999. Seinfeld it is, yet again. Or some, we got HBO, so HBO, for whatever reason, it's like merged with the movie channels kind of over here. I don't really know what's going on, but what I do know is they were playing Borat last night, and I was like, great success. My name is Borat. Very nice. I watched the whole movie. The whole movie's like 87 minutes long. It's real breezy. It's like shorter than some of my Isaac episodes. I feel like Borat, it's obviously like a very offensive movie, but I feel like people don't remember that it's actually a movie. Yes, it has some, I can't explain it, or I can't say this enough, it has some extremely offensive jokes. But it's also like a pretty, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. The character of Borat says some terrible things. However, I feel like he uses that backwoods ignorance, because people think that he's from a country that, he doesn't really know what's going on. But the comedian of Sacha Baron Cohen uses his character's presumed idiocy as a tactic to disarm people and get them to say their real beliefs. And they say some truly terrible stuff. Like, Borat is almost a horror movie, if you haven't seen it in a while. I know, my wife, ha ha ha, Pamela, etc., etc. But there's moments in it in that movie where he interviews people that think like, oh, he's just a bumbling sort of idiot, and then they say just terrible things like, you know, the world would, or America would be a better place if slavery still existed. And you're like, dude, they got a camera in your face. Are you insane? I guess it was filmed in like 2005 probably. So it was a bit of a different time before everybody had cell phones. People maybe weren't watching what they said as much. They weren't in the habit of watching what they said. But you do, by the way, did you see that incredible playback there where we used the High Priestess to get access to a deal with the devil that the game developers placed in the wrong place as a joke? Alright, that's toxic. I apologize. But I'm like, man, you had a camera in your face? If you said that with a camera in your face, I gotta know what kind of terrible stuff you say behind closed doors. Because that's just absurd. Like, you're a monster, dude. Anyway, it's a good movie, but it also makes you think, like all the best movies do. Like Captain America Civil War. That's a joke, but also, like, kind of not really. That was also on TV this weekend. They were playing a Captain America marathon on TV. And I was like, oh, cool. For July 4th weekend, right? Nope. It's, I mean, yesterday was the 21st. Oh, look, it's everybody's favorite item, the D Infinity. Here's what I think we're going to do. Grab both of these and then go from there. Yeah, let's stick with this. This will be cool. I haven't seen any of Sacha Baron Cohen's other work. I mean, that's not true. I've seen Bruno, but I haven't seen his more recent work. I never saw the Dictator. Because, I mean, I watch him for one very specific thing. You know, I watch Sacha Baron Cohen to be horrified by the attitudes of other people in my society. I don't watch Sacha Baron Cohen to be like, he wrote a good joke. I watch him to put on, you know, a funny voice and then, you know, trick some old racist into saying something that they're gonna have to, you know, sue the filmmakers for later. That's what I watch for. There's a show, I don't know if people know this. I'm about to set back Canada-US relations by, like, you know, I don't know, it's gonna get a -50 mood penalty. Like in a Paradox game. But there was, you know what the most popular show in Canada was for like 12 years? I'm not making this up. I don't know if it was the most popular show, but it was very popular. It was airing on our taxpayer-funded television network, the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company. Anyway, corporation, whatever. Let me see what this deal with the devil has before I get into such a nuanced discussion. Just wanted to see if it worked. It was called Talking to Americans, and the whole premise of the show is that Americans are dumb. I'm just going to say it. So they would go to, you know, this guy, the host of the show, his name is Rick Mercer. He would go to the United States of America, and he would say things, and try to convince random people that in the United States of America that these ridiculous things were happening in Canada. Like, he would be like, hey, you know, Canada just elected a new prime minister, Jean Poutine. And then they'd get clips of them saying, like, congratulations, Canada, on the election of your new prime minister, Jean Poutine. And we'd be sitting at home, stupid Americans don't even know the name of the prime minister is Jean Chrétien, not Jean Poutine. Congratulations, Canada, on getting electricity in your national igloo. You know, stuff like that. Did you know 30% of Canadians live in igloos? But here's the thing. Like, I'm just trying to be fair. If you're American, you should know more about Canada and Mexico. I get it. You're the big brother on the block. I don't know. We got enough stuff going on in our country. We don't need to worry about what's going on in other countries. Every other country on the planet worries about what's going on with you. All you got to do is pay them a little freaking lip service. But believe it or not, I'm actually coming to your aid to defend you. As long as you don't have an ignorant attitude about it. Like, we don't need to worry about what's happening everywhere else. Your stuff's infecting everywhere else. We got to worry about you. You got to worry about us, okay? But if you got a positive attitude about it, I also want to say I understand. You know, if Canada bordered, you know, Chile, and somebody came up to me and was like, hey, can we interview you for a TV show? I would say no, because I know how the media works, and they're going to mind me for humor in all likelihood. And moreover, who has time for that? I mean, are you going to pay me like scale or something to be on the show? I'm just saying, you're monetizing me. I want to cut. Either way. What, you think I'm some kind of like country bumpkin? Or are you going to put me in a moving picture? Man, that's crazy. No, you'd pay me. Anyway, the point is, I was saying no. But if somehow I got, you know, screwed into it, and they were like, hey, did you know that Chile just elected a new prime minister? His name is Jorge Empanada. I mean, in my younger years, I might have been like, oh, really? That's an interesting name. Now, as a grizzled, you know, 30-year-old cynic, I would be like, oh, really? Jorge Empanada, huh? Oh, did he beat Jefe Chimichanga, you know? You wouldn't catch me giving you the soundbite that's like, congratulations, Chile, on the re-election of Jorge Gordita. You know, I wouldn't. But I could see how people would. It's, by the way, there are shows in America that have the exact same premise before you get too upset. I get that it's kind of like, yeah, we can do it to ourselves, you can't do it to us. But it's like one of those, like, classic Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon bits. I don't know who does it, but they'll be like, hey, can you name a country that isn't America on this map? And then, like, they can't. Look. I'm just saying, y'all do it too. It's kind of an insulting TV show, though, I will admit. It's also one of the funniest television programs ever produced in Canadian history, because most Canadian TV is really, really bad. Yeah, I know, SCTV. You know, SCTV aired its last new episode in, like, 1981? It's older than I am, and all I talk about is being old. It's a great show, don't get me wrong. Eugene Levy, though, has now done more American Pie films than he's done SCTV episodes. Where was I going with this? I don't remember. It is insulting sometimes. Because I mean, Canadians, that you can relate to us here. I get that if you're American, here's the thing. Canada doesn't export its news as well as America exports its news. Your news is global news because everybody takes an interest in what's going on in the United States of America. Now, whether that should scare you or flatter you is really a matter of personal preference. I know where I fall on the subject. Either way, it makes sense that you as the most powerful nation on Earth, and, you know, that might be up for debate, but I don't think it is. You know, your news is big news around the world, especially to your closest neighbor. However, it's really insulting to your closest neighbor. Like, today on the show, Josh was like, hey, what are driver's licenses like in Toronto? Here's the thing. I've never lived in Toronto. Driver's licenses in Toronto are the same as they are in the rest of Ontario, which I think is what he was going for, but he was perhaps temporarily under the belief that Toronto was the name of the province instead of the state. Now, it's not an unforgivable mistake, just to be fair, but at the same time, imagine if somebody made that mistake and they were like, you know, hey, what are driver's licenses like in Los Angeles or something like that? Person would probably very smugly be like, I assume the same way they are in the rest of California. I don't know, maybe I'm now that I say it like that, I'm overthinking it, but still. You know, it's like if your neighbor was like John Hamm, you know? Every time John Hamm came home, you might be like, hey, I'm just the chartered accountant. I'm not, you know, the star of AMC's hit show Mad Men. You'd be like, hey, John, great work on Mad Men this week. And then he just went inside of his house. He was like, thanks, John. Let's not name him John. The neighbor is also named John. It's confusing. Let's call him Terry, okay? John Hamm is like, thanks, Terry. It's like, hey, come on, man. Terry, yeah, he might not be in a Black Mirror episode, but at the same time, Terry's got things going on in his own life. You could at least be like, you know, hey, Terry, what's up? What do you got going on? Terry, he'll tell you, oh, yeah, me and Gal Gadot are filming a new movie with Zach Galifianakis. What's up with you, Terry? Oh, I'm thinking about getting a new barbecue for the back patio. Hey, you know, maybe They're not on the same level of cultural relevance, but still, at least take an interest in Terry's life, you know? Your neighbors. I'm not saying you have to take an interest in everybody that takes an interest in you. You know, John Hamm shouldn't have to have a conversation with everybody that's his fan if they live, like, across the planet. But, you know, his 1 or 2 neighbors, yeah. He should know, in my opinion. He should know what Terry's doing with his life. He should know what Terry's capital is, you know what I mean? He should be able to name at least 3 or 4 of Terry's provinces, is all I'm trying to say. It strikes me as, you know, meeting way less than halfway, but enough to at least be clearly making an effort, you know what I mean? And, you know, I get your country's John Hamm, but our country's Terry, so, like, you know, we're a duo, John and Terry, like John in big capital letters. Also, musical guest, Terry, you know, but like at the same time, we're both human beings living our lives here. Won't somebody take an interest in Terry? Nobody calls Terry and goes, hey Terry, congratulations on your Emmy for outstanding lead actor in a drama series. You know why? Because Terry's out there making sure KPMG can keep his lights on. Where am I going with that? I don't know. Praise Terry. Either way, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. That was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!